What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today I've got a video of Apple's brand new MagSafe battery case. So this is probably going to be Apple's only product release of the summer before a very busy expected fall season, and it's one that we've been waiting for a very long time. And I'm sure for some people you'll need this battery case more than others, but for those who don't remember, Apple made a battery case for the iPhone a while back, and that was one that actually plugs into the lightning port, has a pass-through, and also looks pretty weird because it kind of had like a jetpack style hump on the back. This approach though is a little bit different and takes advantage of the MagSafe that was introduced on the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro line, and it also has some features that allow it to work as a Qi wireless charger, but at the price of $100, I will say it has some features that make a lot of sense and can be beneficial in a lot of ways, but there are also some questionable things about it, including the charging speed, the price point, and just like the sheer size and how much it is able to charge your phone depending on the model. If you guys would like to win a MagSafe battery pack, I have an extra one, so just go ahead and drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and also follow me on Instagram and leave your username down below, and I'll be picking a winner in 3 weeks. So for starters, the battery capacity has a size of about 1460 milliamp hours, which means it is not able to fully charge any of the iPhones in the current lineup, including the mini, and to be honest, I feel like that somewhat makes sense because the iPhone battery has gotten a lot better over the years since we last reviewed a battery case, and I can pretty much get through an entire day of the iPhone 12 Pro Max as someone who uses my phone for like 8 to 9 hours of screen on at the very least. And for the most part, I don't really feel like I need this accessory unless I'm on the go or traveling or taking a lot of photos and watching video throughout the day and really utilizing the 5G depending on where I am. But this battery pack right here is sized the exact same form factor as the iPhone 12 mini, to the point where it actually almost looks kind of funny because it literally takes up the entire back of this phone and is seamless with the edges. So if you have the iPhone 12 mini and suffer from bad battery life but still want to have like a solution in some sort of way, then this battery case can fit on there, but it just looks pretty strange. It is definitely not the thinnest out there, and in fact, if you look at it from the side, I would say that it is actually a little bit thicker than the iPhone itself, and even though it does make sense being an external battery, it definitely isn't comfortable to carry around all the time. I feel like unlike the previous battery case that you kind of like have on at all times, this is something that you kind of store separately, and with portable batteries and backup chargers being so popular over the years and are relatively accessible, and when you need like a bit of a top up, then you can just go ahead and plug your phone to it, and this is at least a better solution than having a wire hanging out of your phone and like walking around with the juice pack, but instead just being able to take advantage of the MagSafe magnets on this year's iPhone. So when it comes to the actual finish itself, it only comes in the color white, and it actually looks really good, and especially with some of these summer colors right here for the case, I think it does blend in quite nicely, but I'm sure a lot of people would have liked a black one because white is just gonna get so dirty. It is a portable battery, so I don't really care that much, but yeah, it is a little bit odd, and it does kind of have like a hard but also like soft touch finish to it when it comes to the outside, but generally speaking, it does feel pretty solid. And on the other side, in terms of how it contacts with your phone and also serves as a wireless charging pad, it has like a nice silicone finish that is kind of what you find on the bottom of like the Apple keyboards, which has like a good grip to it. Overall, when it comes to like the build quality and everything, I don't really have any complaints whatsoever. It does still have the Apple logo printed, and it actually lines up perfectly with where the logo is on the phone, which is just like a small detail whether it really matters or not. In terms of how it stays on the device though, I will say it is a little bit hit or miss. It is like a good balance between not being too loose, but at the same time easy to remove and put on again. So I feel like it actually does do a pretty good job and it doesn't affect the charging, but when it comes to like a little bit of shifting left and right, you will definitely notice it to some degree. And if you're like holding your phone and like to fiddle with it, then I can see it like coming off when you might not want it to. Even though it does add some weight to the iPhone itself, I wouldn't say it's anything significant, and it's definitely better than having to carry around a 10,000 milliamp hour battery pack at all times if I'm usually just trying to top my phone off like 70 or 80% just to get me through like the second half of the day. On the bottom you're going to find a battery indicator light as well as a lightning port to recharge this entire thing. And when it gets to like the actual charging capabilities itself and the speed between MagSafe or using it as a Qi wireless charging pad, it does get a little bit complicated. Apple does recommend that you use a 20 watt charger or higher, but 27 watts and up by using like a MacBook charger, for example, is able to fully charge this faster than the 20, of course. One like kind of cool feature that I think is that it also serves as a wireless charging pad. So say you're like traveling and at the end of the day you want to like plug it into a wall outlet and still use this as a wireless pad. It does serve as like a MagSafe charging pad. And if you also want to use it as a general Qi wireless charging pad for devices that may not have MagSafe, it also does work that way as well. Even like Apple AirPods or any Qi accessories are going to be compatible when using this as a wireless charging pad. So overall, I do think this does have some nice features beyond just being a battery pack itself, and it's sort of like an all-in-one tool that you could definitely find ways to use it, whether you're on the go or just at home and want to plug it in at the end of the day and use as just like a typical wireless charger for either your iPhone or your AirPods. So with MagSafe introduced in this generation of iPhone, there's been a lot of accessories both from Apple and also third parties that really let you take the experience of the iPhone to the next level and really make the most of it. Some of the cool accessories were from like Moment, for example, and like the different camera clips, the car clips, and also the charging stuff. And it's just always nice when there's a platform of accessories that really let you take advantage of the device that you purchased for many years down the road. And the Mac equivalent of that is Setup. It's a suite of apps on a subscription basis that allows you to access over 200 apps that would usually cost you thousands of dollars for just a simple subscription. And I've actually been using it for quite a few years now, and I think it's an incredible deal. So I want to give a huge thanks to them for sponsoring this video. Setup is actually made by MacPaw, a company that prioritizes online privacy and productivity in all the products that they developed, and they're actually the creators of Clean My Mac X, which you guys have seen me use for many years now, and it's also included in Setup. Another included program that I also really like is AnyTrans, and I've been using this for a while because it just takes the backup and migration experience of the iPhone to the next level. As someone who switches devices all the time being in the tech industry, this just makes it a lot easier to manage your data and also organize it than the default Apple system built in. So as I said, they got a great curated collection in different categories, whether you're looking for productivity, creative, or security apps. So go ahead and check it out for yourself. And if you guys want a 7-day free trial, I'm gonna drop a link down below and also put it on screen. And after that, it is just $9.99 a month and gives you access to full versions of over 200 apps. So now on to like the actual charging experience of the MagSafe battery pack, and this is where I kind of have like a mixed opinion. I feel like in some areas they could have done a lot better, whereas in others it does really make sense because it isn't exactly an accessory that people have really been asking for, just because the latest generation iPhone actually has really good battery life. Like honestly, I can say that I've never been able to use an iPhone for an entire day at a time without having to charge it, and this year was the first time that I was able to do that. So even as a power user who used to literally have to charge my phone by about 2 or 3 p.m. all the way to 100 and drain it again before the end of the day. It wasn't like one that I was like really waiting for and ready to buy right away, but instead an accessory that I was a little bit curious about and can definitely see myself like keeping in my everyday carry bag. So moving up along the lineup, the iPhone 12 mini has a battery size of 2,227 milliamp hours, which makes it the smallest in the entire lineup and probably the biggest disadvantage to why you should get the iPhone 12 mini. And I still don't really understand people who went ahead and chose that one of all the models. But in terms of the charging from my test, I got between 20 and 25% in about 30 minutes. And after about like an hour and a half, you should get about 2/3. And after about 2 hours, you're gonna hit right around the 80% mark, give or take. And what I noticed is that even though the milliamp hours compared to the actual battery size of the iPhone might seem like a larger difference than 80%, it does seem relatively efficient in terms of not losing too much power in the actual charging process. Because I did a video way back in the day showing some of the claims of the milliamp hours and seeing how much charge each battery pack was able to get, and I realized that a lot of the percentage of milliamp hours are actually lost in the transfer itself. The next one though is the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro, and this has a battery size of 2,815 milliamp hours, and in about 30 minutes it was able to get maybe like 18 to 20%, and in about an hour it was able to get just under 50%. After about 2 hours when it fully tapped out, it was able to get between 55 to 60%. And when you move up into the largest model of iPhone, which is the iPhone 12 Pro Max with the 3,687 milliamp hour battery, I obviously wasn't expecting that much, but in about 30 minutes, it was able to charge between 10 to 12%. And after an hour and a half, it hit 40%. and by the time it ran out, it tapped out at under 50% of total charge. And I feel like that's a bit of a mixed opinion, because if I spent $100 on a battery pack, I would usually expect it to be larger than 1400 milliamp hours and at least be in like the 2,000 to 3,000 range. But at the same time, if you have the iPhone 12 Pro Max and as a power user, you may not even need this accessory altogether. It's more so for people who have like the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 12 mini, where it does make a pretty significant difference, and that's where I can see its value. It also has a bit of a safeguard where if you're trying to top off the battery percentage of your phone, if you're like 60% already and trying to charge it fully, it will actually stop at 90 unless you manually enable it to go all the way, because it doesn't recommend you fully charging your iPhone too many times. So generally speaking, I think the biggest observation from these tests is that it doesn't actually charge your battery all the way, which is pretty obviously and expected, but it also charges the iPhone a lot slower than I did expect, being a first-party MagSafe accessory. You obviously do expect that from Apple you're going to pay a premium, but I figured because of the whole like MagSafe system and maybe having faster charging and all that, it would at least be able to charge a little bit faster, but it really doesn't, and I guess that's just like the overall functionality of it, but at the same time, it could also be to protect the battery as well by just topping it up slowly, because I know some people are going to just have this on their phone at all times and just charge it like this and try to charge both of them in a reverse manner. And Apple's kind of added a lot of features to save the overall battery life of your iPhone in the long run. So at the end of the day, do I think you should buy an Apple MagSafe battery pack? And the simple answer is I feel like most people are really just not going to need this, but if you are a power user, then it can definitely make sense. Or if you made the mistake of buying the iPhone 12 mini, then you can go ahead and grab this, but it does take up the entire form factor to the point that you kind of lose like the mini features of this device. And so I feel like if you have the iPhone 12 and you do run through the battery, then this could be a good accessory, but it definitely comes at a cost. And even at $100, it doesn't come with a spare lightning cable. You have to go ahead and have like the brick and like the cable and all that kind of stuff. And if you have the MagSafe charger as well, like just with the MagSafe case and also like the battery pack and maybe the MagSafe charger as well, you're like $150 into first-party Apple accessories that, to be honest, are good, but aren't exactly like useful to the degree where I would see the justification in that price after you've already spent so much money on a current generation iPhone. But I think on an execution basis, overall, Apple did do a good job. The design looks great, the build quality is nice, it also has multiple functions with like this nice soft touch finish on this side, so you can use it as a Qi wireless charging pad, and I like that there is flexibility in which types of bricks that you can use to charge it faster. What I don't like about it though is that it does charge quite slowly, and although I do understand some of the logic of like battery degradation, a lot of times I just want to put this on like while I'm eating dinner, and by the time that's done and I have to go somewhere else, I just want to take this thing off and I don't want to carry it around with me everywhere, especially if I have a smaller phone. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.